So yes, I'm going to talk about probably the most exciting things in this conference today, Playable Ads, and what's going to happen in 2017, basically. So I also only have 10 minutes, but if you have any pressing, super important questions, then please ask them. Please interrupt me. Just raise your hands, and I'll repeat the questions so everyone can hear. Basically, really short on me. I'm a general manager for Chartboost for Europe and India. I'm also co-founder of a company called Cloud Games, who makes Playable Ads. And Chartboost, who don't know it, we're integrated in about 300,000 games. We're a mobile games advertising network, basically, working with all the big guys, as you can see. Agenda today. First, to talk about a little bit about the evolution of mobile ads, how we got to Playables, which is the end state, the holy grail. And then why this will happen now in 2017, what's great with the Playables. And then we're going to share a little bit of our own knowledge on testing and optimizing Playable Ads. So if we look at a very non-scientific graph that I created, we put up basically two axes to describe how to compare different ad units. The first one is eCPM, or basically the money that each ad unit pays. And this is especially for the game developer, right? This is what's important to that person. Okay, how much are they actually making? The second one, user experience, which is extremely subjective, right? This part is basically combining a player. Is the game very intrusive, or can it actually be appreciated? And it's for the advertiser, it's how engaging is the ad. So the higher those two score, the higher on the x-axis, right? So if we go through history for mobile native ads. Start off with banners coming from the web. Everyone knows this format, but it's not appreciated by anyone, basically. Bad experience. The reason you click on it mostly is because missed clicks, takes up a lot of game space, that kind of stuff, right? It doesn't pay very well either. I don't want to talk about that anymore. Next one is static interstitials. Between levels, pretty straightforward type of game. Ad unit. Decent payout. This is bread and butter still for a lot of ad companies out there. Yeah, enough said, I think. Building on that, we now have animated Gifs. I'm sure you have seen them out there. They start to come, where you have a little bit of cinematic experience, right? You can get a couple of seconds of moving parts, which means you can actually describe the game a bit better, or describe whatever you're advertising better, and make it a little bit more entertaining as well for the user. So, pays better. Better conversion, basically, and better user experience. Then we're moving into video. 15, 16 was really the boost for video. Static interstitial video, can be entertaining, can be good for the user, pays well. Even better, rewarded video, user initiated, pays better because it usually brings better user into the new game, and it's usually more appreciated by users because, again, you have to initiate it yourself, right? Then we come to the talk of today, the Playable Ads. This is good because from a user, first of all, most of the times you can click away these ads if you don't want them, right? So it's user initiated as well. And it's user engaging. And if you have a good Playable Ad, you actually enjoy playing it. You can play the ad a little bit, and then you get prompted to play the game. So when this is done well, this is really, really good for the advertiser, obviously, because it's highly engaging. It's good for the user because it's not annoying. It can actually be fun. And it's usually really good for the publisher because the CPM is usually high. And since we're in the beginning of Playable Ads era, so to say, the CPM is still not higher than video, but I believe that in 2017, end of it, we'll probably see a normal Playable Ad is easily going to outbeat video. You can quote me on that one if you want. And then one I'm not going to talk about at all is the native format, which has been around forever and works sometimes, but hasn't really taken off in 15 years or whatever. So just lay the groundwork. This is where we are today. This is what we're going to talk about. And so key, basically, then, as I said before about Playables, is that the balanced value is basically what the key point here. It's good for the game developer because it pays well. It's good for the user because it's not that intrusive and can actually be fun. And it's very, very good for the advertiser because it's highly engaging, right? And the second thing that's really good with the playables is the retention and LTV. As a user, you get to try out the game, so you know exactly what you get when you install it. Which means that you are a lot more likely to stay in the game and keep playing it, right? And high retention leads to high LTV. It's the best proxy out there, basically. And then with the high LTV comes high CPI bids, together with high install rates and all that kind of stuff, which leads to very high CPM. Okay? So just to give a little bit of an example of an ad that we created, it's a relatively simple ad, but still works really well. It's for a slots game. This is what you get. Then you click, you see call to action, tap to spin, you click spin, and it spins, obviously. And surprise, surprise, you win. You spin a couple more times, and you win 2 million coins, basically. And then after this, you're prompted to install the game. Short, sweet, entertaining, but still powerful. And so I wanted to share a couple of tips also, things that we've learned by making playable ads at Chartboost. And it's, first of all, the most important thing is to get engagement, to get the user actually to start playing the ad, right? So the key thing that we've seen is the second part here, and that's basically to make it really, really, really clear what to do, right? So don't have any clutter, other call to actions, just make sure that you actually bring people into playing it. This is an example of an ad that we did for big fish games. This is Gummy Drop. So I can see this is the first version, and then we're not proud of this. Let's put it that way. It's very cluttered. It's not really clear what to do. The call to action is as you can see down here in the pretty small down in the down left corner. You have a second call to action which is download now as well. So if you take this as kind of a baseline of this is not great work. And then the thing with this though is that this still got an engagement rate of 42%. So 4 out of 10 still engaged with this ad, even though it's semi-confusing, right? However, what we did one iteration on this one, and super simple. We just took out all the clutter and made it super clear. And we made it like this, right? One call to action, a bouncing arrow, and a little movement of there. It's not really clear what to do, to be honest, but it's very clear that you need to engage in it, right? You need to actually click for something to happen. And this changed the play rate from 42% to 70%. And this by itself, since it's almost double the play rate, it almost doubled the CPM as well. Another thing is, just like with games, you need to know your targeting, right? So as we do campaigns, I'm sure you do targeting as in devices and genres and user demographics. But think also about the kind of, what the kind of gamer you want, right? What the kind of gamer you are after, and then build the game according to them. So, look at these things and make sure that you target, you build the ad as the target audience are. And then finally, the thing with playables also is that this is a game. This is an HTML5 version of the game, right? You don't write it for native, you write it in HTML5. And you can analyze anything within that game, right? You can use the funnel, the game playing funnel to much deeper, to much greater depth than you can. With static you can't analyze that much. With video you can analyze a little bit, but with playable ads you can analyze almost everything. So make use of that. The most obvious one is play rate. How many people actually interact and how do they interact then later. And when you come from interactions, how many people stay in the game and how many people actually download from there, right? So, to conclude, you're making an experience, you're making a game. Playable ads down right is a mini game, basically. It's a start of the game that you're advertising. So it's not enough to just make something to just show it off, because then it doesn't convert, it doesn't engage. It's not a good experience. So treat this as a game, basically, and build it for the gaming audience. Thanks, guys.